You wake up and something feels different. Your body is heavier than usual, your legs anchored to the mattress, your mind wrapped in a strange, sacred quiet. And then you hear it, not in the noise of the world, but deep in your spirit, a whisper that cuts through everything else. Stay, rest. It's not time to run. This isn't weakness. This isn't you giving up. And it's not life passing you by. This is heaven itself, placing a divine pause over your life, not to keep you small, but to prepare you for a leap so great, it will rewrite the course of your destiny. You are not being delayed. You are being positioned. You are not losing time. You are entering God's time. And when that happens, every second you thought was wasted will come back multiplied. In the next few moments, I'm going to show you why this rest is the most strategic move God could make for your future, and why obeying this call is the difference between stepping into your destiny half prepared or stepping into it with unstoppable authority. Before we begin, I want you to do something powerful. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't yet, and comment 99 below. Why 99? Because it is the number that reminds heaven you're the one sheep he left the 99 for, the one he is protecting, guiding, and preparing right now. When God tells a chosen one to stop, it's never the end of their usefulness. It's the setup for something they could never have imagined. This is not an interruption. This is a divine maneuver. Think of the most skilled archer you've ever seen. Before that arrow slices through the air toward its target, the archer does not push forward. He pulls back. And the greater the pull, the more explosive the release. Right now, your life might feel like it's moving in reverse. Plans paused, opportunities delayed, energy drained. But heaven's perspective is entirely different. This is not you falling behind. This is God drawing you into the most powerful launching point of your existence. The danger comes when you mistake divine stillness for stagnation. Many can't handle the silence, the lack of visible progress, so they force movement. But what they end up with is noise, exhaustion, and results that collapse under pressure. God refuses to let that be your story. He is safeguarding you from a premature release that would waste your potential. You are in what I call the holy tension. That quiet space between God's not yet and His now. It is the unseen chamber where destinies are sharpened, faith is refined, and authority is forged. Rest in the kingdom is not weakness, it's weaponry. The enemy thrives on frantic motion. He wants you running in circles, burning energy, making decisions out of fear. But when you rest at God's command, you deny Him access to your momentum. You anchor yourself in divine timing, and timing is everything in the spiritual realm. Too early, and you miss alignment. Too late, and you miss the opening. Right on time, and every door swings wide, every obstacle becomes a stepping stone, every no turns into a supernatural yes. And here's the part most people overlook. Rest doesn't just recharge you physically, it recalibrates your spiritual vision. When you step away from the rush, your discernment sharpens. You start noticing things you were too busy to see before. Subtle warnings, hidden opportunities, quiet whispers from God that hold the map to your next breakthrough. This is why chosen ones in a season of rest often receive revelations and clarity others can't understand. The world sees you doing nothing, but in heaven's eyes, you are in elite-level training. Think of a soldier in special forces. There are long stretches where they're not on the battlefield, but in controlled environments, refining their skills, studying intelligence, training for conditions they have yet to face. When the mission comes, they execute with precision that looks effortless, because the hard work happened in secret. That's you right now. God is building in you a power that will look instantaneous to others, but in reality, it's the fruit of this hidden preparation. And make no mistake, this preparation is not generic. It's tailored to you, to your calling, to the exact battles and victories that await. The conversations you are meant to have, the people you are meant to meet, the opportunities you are meant to seize, they are being arranged right now with military precision. But until every piece is in place, God will hold you still, not to frustrate you, not to tease you, but to ensure that when you step forward, you do so into a landscape already cleared of threats and full of divine advantage. So I'll tell you this, do not despise this pullback season. The greater the tension now, the greater the distance you'll cover when God releases you. And when that release comes, it won't be a gentle stroll. It will be a supernatural surge, the kind that closes the gap between where you are and where you're called to be in a fraction of the time it would take in your own strength. And here's the question you need to sit with right now. If God is loading you like an arrow, how far is He planning to send you? The answer might be the very reason He's holding you in place a little longer. While you rest, something far greater than recovery is unfolding in the unseen realm. God is not only restoring your strength, He is fortifying your destiny. You may think you are simply lying still, but heaven is working at a level so intricate, so deliberate, that if you could see it with your natural eyes, you would be on your knees in awe. This is not idle time. This is a supernatural lockdown, where heaven has drawn a circle around your life and said, "Nothing crosses this line unless I permit it." The truth is, not everyone who smiles at you is meant to walk with you. Not every opportunity that looks promising is truly aligned with your purpose. Some doors, if opened now, would lead you into environments saturated with distraction, compromise, or subtle corruption that could erode the very calling God placed on your life. While you sleep, while you pause, God is quietly closing those doors before you even realize they existed. It's not rejection, it's redirection. He's dismantling bridges that would have led you into storms you were never meant to face, and in their place, He is building secure paths to your future. This cleansing isn't only external, it is spiritual air control. Imagine your destiny as a runway. Before the aircraft of your calling can take off, the airspace must be cleared. Interferences, both seen and unseen, are being removed. People with hidden agendas, influences that drain your spirit, voices that subtly undermine your faith, all of them are being pushed to the edges of your life. You may not even notice the absence right away, but later you'll look back and realize, if that person had stayed, if that opportunity had gone through, it could have poisoned everything God was about to do. And understand this, these removals are rarely comfortable. Sometimes God's protection looks like sudden silence from someone who used to call you daily. It looks like a deal falling apart at the last minute. It looks like an invitation you were expecting that never arrives. In the moment, it feels like loss. But in the spirit, it is a surgical procedure, precise, intentional, and essential for your survival in the next phase. A skilled surgeon doesn't just remove what's infected. He ensures the wound is clean, sealed, and ready for the body to function stronger than before. Right now, the spiritual atmosphere around you is undergoing exactly that kind of operation. Angels are on assignment, intercepting traps before you even step near them. Conversations meant to slander your name are being shut down before they reach influential ears. Decisions in rooms you don't even know exist are being swayed in your favor. Not because of anything you've done in this moment, but because God's covenant over you requires that your path remain clear. And here's something few realize. Attacks don't always come as obvious threats. Sometimes they come disguised as blessings. People who seem supportive but subtly shift your focus. Opportunities that appear golden but carry hidden costs. This is why your rest is critical. When you're running at full speed, you're less likely to notice the small signs of danger. But in stillness, heaven can reroute you without you resisting. Your lack of movement right now is not weakness. It's cooperation with divine intervention. Think of this as God reseeding the soil of your life. Before the next harvest, the ground must be tilled, the weeds uprooted, the pests removed. If you plant too early, those weeds and pests will choke the life out of what's meant to grow. But by allowing this season of rest, you're giving God full permission to do the deep work, to remove what's dangerous and prepare what's necessary, so that when you rise, the path ahead is pure, prepared, and uncontaminated. And the most astonishing part? While you think you're doing nothing, heaven is running the most intense spiritual security operation on your behalf. God is not only blocking what could harm you, He's also staging what will help you. The relationships you need, the alliances that will strengthen you, the divine appointments that will unlock your next level. They are being positioned right now like chess pieces on a board. Every move calculated, every piece placed in anticipation of your arrival at the right moment. So the next time you feel frustrated by your stillness, remember this: you are under divine guard. Your future is being safeguarded from attacks you will never have to see or fight, because God has already fought them for you in the hidden places. And when the time comes for you to rise, you won't just walk into the next chapter. You'll walk into a battlefield where the enemy has already been disarmed. But here's the question you must wrestle with tonight. If heaven is working this hard to shield you while you rest, what kind of mission must be waiting for you when you finally wake? This silence you're in right now is not empty space. It is the furnace of transformation. In the relentless noise of daily life, your truest self can remain buried under layers you didn't even know you carried. But in this God-ordained stillness, when the volume of the world is turned down, heaven begins a deep and deliberate work within you. He starts peeling back the layers: fear that kept you small, insecurity that made you doubt your worth, pride that made you rely on your own strength, and that relentless need for human approval that silently controlled so many of your decisions. This is why this season feels so strange, because you're not just resting, you're being remade. Transformation never feels glamorous while it's happening. It feels like uncertainty. It feels like discomfort. It feels like being stripped of everything you thought you needed to stand. But what's really happening is God is replacing the fragile parts of you with unshakable foundations. He's not simply adjusting your habits. He's reconstructing your identity from the inside out. It's like a seed buried in the soil. On the surface, there is nothing to see. No movement, no breakthrough, no sign of progress. But beneath the ground, everything is changing. The outer shell is cracking. Roots are digging deep, seeking hidden streams that will feed them long before a single leaf appears above the surface. It is in this unseen place that strength is formed, strength that will not collapse when the winds of life begin to blow. The seed's power isn't in what is visible. It's in the depth and reach of the roots it develops in the dark. And that's exactly what God is doing in you right now. Understand this: public victory is built in private surrender. Before David stood before Goliath, he stood in the fields, alone, unseen, learning to fight lions and bears with no audience to applaud him. Before Joseph ruled Egypt, he endured prisons and pits, places of confinement that forged a resilience no throne could give him. Your silence is your training ground. It is shaping a version of you that the old you could never survive as. The furnace of transformation is not a place of comfort. It is a place of refining. And refining always involves fire. Not the fire that destroys, but the fire that purifies. The heat you feel right now, the pressure, the stripping away of familiar things, that's the flame removing the impurities that would have weakened you in your next season. God isn't burning you down. He's burning away everything that doesn't belong to who you are becoming. And here is the truth: very few will tell you. The you that will rise after this season will not fit into the spaces you once occupied. You will no longer be able to tolerate the same compromises. You will no longer be drawn to the same distractions. People you once felt you needed will no longer have the same pull on your spirit. Because when God remakes you, He also redefines your environment. This is why some doors won't open for you again, not because you failed, but because you've outgrown them. Do not fear the dismantling. The loss of certain parts of yourself is not the loss of your identity. It's the recovery of your true identity. Think about gold in the refiner's fire. It enters with impurities. with elements that dilute its value. Under the heat, those impurities rise to the surface and are removed, leaving behind only what is pure, strong, and beautiful. You are in that exact process right now. And the longer you remain in this furnace, the more refined you will emerge. So pure in purpose, so clear in vision, that no amount of pressure will be able to shatter you. This is why isolation can feel so intense during transformation. It's not punishment, it's protection. God is keeping you in a controlled environment, so the work can be completed without contamination. Every layer removed is making space for a greater capacity, for more wisdom, more authority, more faith. When the world finally sees you again, they won't understand how you changed so much in what looked like nothing happening. They won't see the battles you fought in the quiet. They won't know the nights you cried out for clarity. They won't realize the strength it took to stay when everything in you wanted to run. But they will see the results, and those results will speak louder than any explanation. So hold your ground in this silence. Let the furnace do its work. Because when God decides it's time for you to break the surface, you won't just rise like a seed sprouting. You will burst forth with unstoppable life, carrying the undeniable proof that this season didn't destroy you. It recreated you. And here's the question that will keep you leaning in. If this is what God is building in you in secret, what kind of authority will you carry when the world finally sees you? As you rest, something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface of your awareness. Heaven is unlocking abilities and insights you didn't even know were inside you. They've been there all along, hidden in the deep vaults of your spirit, waiting for the right season to emerge. This moment of stillness you're in right now, it's not just recovery, it's resurrection. The pause has become your spiritual incubation chamber, a place where what was once dormant is being revived, refined, and prepared for use in ways that will shock even you. For years, some of these gifts may have been buried under survival mode. You were too busy fighting battles, meeting deadlines, or trying to keep your head above water to notice them. But in the stillness, in the absence of constant noise and pressure, your soul finally has the space to speak. Ideas begin to form that you've never had before. Creative solutions appear in your mind like lightning, flashes of brilliance that feel less like your own thoughts and more like downloads from heaven itself. This is not coincidence. It is activation. These gifts are not being awakened for applause, for vanity, or for you to simply do more. No, this is for mission. Every ability God is bringing to the surface is a tool crafted for the specific battles, assignments, and opportunities that await you in the next chapter of your destiny. Some gifts will be practical, a sharpened skill, a natural ability you didn't know could be applied in the way you'll soon need it. Others will be supernatural, an increase in spiritual discernment, a prophetic sensitivity, an authority in your voice that wasn't there before. You won't just know what to do, you'll feel the divine push to do it with confidence and precision. The most remarkable part: these awakenings often come subtly. You may notice you suddenly see solutions where before you only saw problems. You might find yourself understanding complex situations with an ease that surprises you. A boldness may rise in your spirit where there was once hesitation. What was hidden in you was never gone. It was simply waiting for the right temperature, the right environment, and the right divine timing to break open. This rest is that environment. And don't be surprised if you begin to feel drawn to new things. Books you never would have read before, conversations you once avoided, opportunities to serve in ways that feel strangely natural. These are signals. They are markers that the gifts within you are stretching, testing their strength before they are called into full operation. You are, in a sense, rehearsing for the stage you haven't stepped onto yet. But here is the sobering truth. Awakened gifts are also tested gifts. God will not release them into your hands fully until they've been aligned with His purpose, purified from selfish ambition, and anchored in humility. This is why the awakening process often happens in secret. No spotlight. No stage, no applause, Just you and the quiet pull of something powerful being prepared within. Heaven doesn't rush this process because heaven knows what is awakened too early will burn out too soon. And when the time comes for these gifts to be revealed, you won't have to force recognition. The doors will open without you pounding on them. The right people will notice without you begging for their attention. The opportunities will align without you twisting circumstances in your favor. Because gifts awakened by God are not sustained by human approval, they are sustained by divine assignment. So, if you've been feeling a strange stirring in your spirit lately, an unexplainable curiosity, a new flow of ideas, a sudden clarity on things you never understood before, pay attention. This is the evidence that the chamber of incubation is doing its work. And every day you remain in obedience, more is being unlocked. Because when the season shifts and God says go, you won't just walk into the next chapter with rest. You will walk into it armed. Every tool sharpened, every gift activated, every insight loaded like an arrow in your quiver. You will step forward not just as someone who survived the waiting, but as someone who emerges from it transformed into a weapon heaven can wield with precision. And here's the question I'll leave you with right now. If the gifts that are waking up in you during this hidden season are already this strong, what will happen when God fully releases them into the world? When the pause ends, you won't have to guess. You won't be left in a fog wondering if maybe, just maybe, it's time to move. No. The shift will be undeniable. The weight that has been pressing down on you, the heaviness that made every step feel like wading through deep water, will suddenly lift. And it won't be subtle. You'll feel it like a chain snapping off your spirit. It will be as if the very air around you has changed, charged with a new kind of energy. A readiness you can't ignore. Clarity will flood in, almost startling in its intensity. Questions you've carried for months, or even years, will find their answers in moments. Decisions that once felt impossible will suddenly feel obvious. The what-ifs that haunted your mind will fall silent, replaced by an unshakable sense of direction. It won't be a noisy excitement. It will be a holy stillness inside you that says, "This is it. This is the moment I was made for." And then the peace will come. Not the fragile kind that depends on perfect circumstances, but the deep, immovable peace that remains even when the road ahead looks daunting. It's the kind of peace that removes every doubt, because it doesn't come from your own reasoning. It comes from knowing the author of your destiny just turned the page. From there, things that used to be uphill battles will suddenly become effortless. Doors will swing open without you knocking. Meetings will happen without you orchestrating them. People will show up who speak your language, understand your vision, and carry pieces of the puzzle you didn't even know were missing. The same obstacles that once stood as towering walls will transform into stepping stones, elevating you instead of blocking you. And you will know, without hesitation, that it's time to move. There will be no second guessing, no pacing the floor, no begging for more signs. God's go will resonate so loudly in your spirit that it will drown out the echoes of fear. You won't just hear it, you will feel it in your bones, a pull so strong it would take more energy to resist than to obey. But here's what makes this moment so profound. It won't just be about what you're moving toward, but about what you're moving in. You will move clothed in the authority forged during your season of stillness. You'll carry the discernment sharpened in the silence, the wisdom refined in the waiting, and the gifts awakened in the secret place. Every step you take will bear the weight of heaven's endorsement, and you'll notice something else. Fear will still be there, whispering its lies, but it will no longer have power over you. Why? Because fear loses its voice in the presence of conviction. When you've heard God's go, fear's best weapon is reduced to background noise. In that moment, momentum will feel supernatural. You'll accomplish in weeks what would have taken years before. Connections will happen in hours that should have taken months. You will see the undeniable fingerprints of God on every detail, and it will confirm over and over again, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. But here's the key. This moment to rise won't arrive because you pushed your way forward. It will arrive because you waited until heaven moved first. And when heaven moves, nothing can stand in its way. Not resistance, not timing, not opposition. So hold steady. Don't try to create the moment. Let the moment come to you. Because when it does, it will carry with it a force so undeniable, a clarity so piercing, and a peace so consuming that you'll look back on your season of stillness and realize it wasn't a delay at all. It was the divine wind-up before the release. And that leaves you with a question you must keep in the back of your mind until the shift happens. When God's go finally roars through your spirit, will you have the courage to leap without looking back? Chosen one, hear me now. The greatest war you will ever fight is not the one where you swing your sword. It's the one where you stand still, heart pounding, while heaven moves on your behalf. It is the war against your own impatience, your own doubt, your own need to do when God has called you to be. This is where champions are forged, not in the noise, but in the quiet furnace of obedience. Do not rush this moment. Do not sabotage the masterpiece by tearing the canvas from the artist's hands before it's complete. Heaven is aligning things right now that you could never arrange in a lifetime. If you try to force it, you'll step into a battlefield without your armor, into a mission without your map. But if you wait, if you trust, if you hold the line in faith, you will rise into a destiny already secured by the fingerprints of God Himself. Your rest is not a pause in the story. It is the most strategic chapter of it. This is not delay. This is divine positioning. You are being loaded like an arrow on the bow of the Almighty, and when He releases you, no power in hell, no human resistance, no barrier on earth will stop your flight. You will not walk into your calling. You will charge into it with the force of every prayer, every tear, every act of obedience you sowed in this sacred stillness. So stay in the bed, if that's where God has you. Not as a prisoner of circumstance, but as a soldier under divine orders. You are not lying there in defeat. You are lying there in victory already written. And when heaven calls your name, you will rise unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable. Now, if this word has struck your spirit, if you feel the weight of this truth settling in your chest, I want you to write these words in the comments. I will wait for God's go. Declare it. Seal it. Let the world and the enemy know. You refuse to move until the commander of heaven gives the signal. Because when that signal comes, you won't just step into your future. You will erupt into it, and nothing will ever be the same again.